So we're segueing in this partnership conversation about leverage. This is about finding more of your dream clients. And Iman was talking about the opportunity to get into joint venture partners about speaking. And that's why I'm so excited to bring our next guest. If you have not had the pleasure of meeting with Janelle Anderson, this is in fact right now a joint venture opportunity that we created together. And she is all about the power of virtual stages. Speaking is the fastest path to cash. It is the highly leveraged strategy of finding who's the buyer in the room, who are your people, who resonates with you, and it is effective. So Janelle, I want you to come off mute and I want to ask this question to you. When's the right time to start thinking about speaking and creating an event?
All right now.
Right now.
Right now. Yes, yes. Do it now. If not now, when, I always say. Now's the best time.
I love this because this is such a true story. The comment made earlier was, now is the perfect time to create. Somebody needs your voice. We're going to
Yeah.
show you how to do it. Janelle, the stage is yours to show us how do we build virtual stages to win clients and build our business. Good luck.
Yes. Well, thank you, Christine. I am so happy to be here. I'm going to share my screen when you give me the permission. I don't think I have permission yet. While she's doing that, I would love for you guys to put in the chat how many events, virtual events, do you go to, do you think, in a regular week? What would be a normal amount of virtual events that you attend in, say, a week? And I'm interested in seeing that answer because I usually get kind of the same answers to that question. And let me see the chat. I got to bring it over here. Less than one. Oh, that's not very many. 5. There you go. 2 to 3, 1, 5. The normal answer I get, believe it or not, is 4 to 8. 4 to 8 virtual events that people are attending every week. I know. Wow, says Carol. So the next question is, why do you go to virtual events? What is your reason for going? What's your motivation for going to these virtual events? And there's usually 2 top answers. So we'll see if you guys get those 2 top answers right. Learning, networking. There you go. The first 2. It's usually I want to learn. I want to grow. I want to grow personally. I want to grow professionally. I'm adding to my toolbox. And then the second one, sometimes the first one, is that networking or connection. People go to events because they love connection and they love to learn. And so many of you are going to several every week because there's so many out there. I get invitations to events all the time. And one time I counted 25 in my inbox in one week. Summits and conferences and workshops and webinars, all those kinds of things, because people are doing events. There's lots of people doing events. Why? Because people are going to them. And they're going because they want to learn and they want to connect. So I want to share with you today about you doing your own events and being one of the people that hosts events and gets those people to come. So if you're like me, this is how I used to feel when I was just starting off as a coach. How many of you are feeling, wave at me or put yes in the chat, if you feel like sometimes you're out there chasing down the next client or looking for them, searching for them, hunting for them? Where are they? Where's my next client? I used to feel that way. Yep, Josiah says. Yes, I used to feel like Carol, if I could go out to the street and grab the person walking down the street and say, please let me coach you, because I wanted so much to coach people and have that transformation in their lives. But it felt like I had to chase them down. I had to go searching for them. But the truth is that you really can attract them. How would you like to be this guy standing here with the magnet, just kind of chill, like he's just hanging out, and these people are running to him, waving money at him because they want to work with him. They want to buy what he's offering, and he's not chasing them. They're running after him. They're looking for him. This was a really huge pivotal mindset shift for me. I went to a 3-day conference once, and they kept having us say, Jesse Corin and Charlotte Jacobs, you may know them. They kept having us say, my people are looking for me, or my people are waiting for me. They're looking for you. Just like Iman just said, there's people out there that are looking for you and exactly what you have to offer. And so you can create a magnet to attract them so that you're not chasing them down, but you're helping them to find you. And in my view, that's what marketing really is me putting myself out there in a place where my ideal clients can actually find me. And I feel like the best way to do that is through a virtual event. So 3 questions. Number 1, put this in the chat. Which one that you want the most today? Lead generation, authority and credibility, or do you want to attract more dream clients? Or number 3, do you want a consistent revenue stream? Which one is the thing that you need most right now? 1, 2, or 3? 3, more consistent revenue stream. 2, clients. All 3, Laura said. Yes. Because if you have lead generation, if you are building up your authority and your credibility in your audience, and that's going to lead you to more dream clients, and more dream clients means you have more consistent revenue stream, right? So all 3 of these, we need them. In order to have that consistent revenue stream, we need more clients. In order to get more clients, we need to be out there. And one of the best ways that I know to do all 3 is what I call virtual workshops, or you can call them webinars or masterclasses. It's kind of the 1.5 to 2 hour event that you can do over and over again. You can create your own signature workshop that generates leads, attracts more clients, and increases your revenue. Because people are going to events and they're looking for you. And what better way for you to say, here I am, come to my event. The other big reason is that it's a booming industry. Did you know that the virtual events industry was a $400 billion industry last year globally? 400 billion. Compare that to the coaching industry, which I think the last I heard was around 7 or 8 billion. The virtual events industry is a $400 billion industry, and in the US, it's at 14 billion. So how many of you would like a little bit of that? Would you like some of that in your bank account? You want to grab hold some of that $400 billion? Why not? Yes, well, you can. So why do I promote, or why do I talk about online events as opposed to in-person? In-person events are wonderful. I love them. I love going to them. I used to do them. When I started my business, I did workshops at the local library because I figured, it'd be better if I just had a group of people in front of me, and then out of that group, I could find some clients. It made sense, right? But then when COVID happened, everybody went online. I was already online, but of course it just boomed, right? And so now I focus on online events, especially the core workshop or masterclass, because it's really convenient. You don't have to travel. Your people don't have to travel. Just like today, you came to your computer, opened it up, and joined this event. It's convenient. It's also really cost effective. You don't have to travel. You don't have to pay for a plane ticket or a room. You don't, as the host, you don't have to pay for the spot, the room, the meeting room. You don't have to bring in food and pay extra insurance and all those things. And it's global. You can reach people all over the world every single time you run an event and be that magnet to attract to you your ideal clients. So put in the chat if you're already doing some online events. If you already run workshops or webinars or masterclasses, put that in the chat, yes, or just say, yes, I run events. I'm just curious. Yes, love them. I do too. Working on my first one. Carol's going to do one soon. I'm so excited for her. Yes. Yes. Okay. So the next question would be, how are they going? Are you monetizing them? Are you converting some of those attendees into clients? How are you doing with the money making side of it? How's that going? When I started off, I was doing events, like I said, regularly. I did these local little workshops. And then I started doing online at the same time. Like I was already in Zoom when COVID hit. So just imagine me, I'm getting ready to run this event. I've got my computer open. I put my slides together. I've got my content ready. I'm so excited to share with all of my attendees. The room opens up. People start showing up. It's full of people and they're excited. And I start sharing my content and they're excited and they start putting in the chat, oh gosh, this is amazing. This is helping me so much. Thank you, Janelle. Thank you so much. This is exactly what I needed. And then the event closes, close my computer, and I'm met with crickets. Nobody signed up for my offer. Nobody jumped in. Everybody loved the content. They had a great time. but nobody signed up or very little. And I'd sit there and ask myself, what went wrong? I had great content. I had people in the room. They were telling me they loved it. Why didn't they take the next step with me? And so this cycle went on for quite a while. I was hustling really hard, putting these events together. I could fill the seats. I can put together great content. I have a degree in education. I know how to put together content, and people loved my content. But over and over again, I would have little to no conversions. And I was getting so frustrated and disheartened. Have you ever felt that way? You've done all the work for an event and you pour your heart and soul into it and you don't get any conversions. It can feel very disheartening. And after a while, I started thinking, what am I doing? I'm spending all this time and all this work and energy, and nothing is really working. So I knew something had to change because I saw other people running virtual events and making thousands of dollars. And I thought, there's got to be a secret formula. And I've got to figure out what it is. And I started studying these events and these event hosts and watched what they did and how they made their offer and how they ran their events. And then I found a mentor. And the mentor happens to be the speaker that was just on, Iman Guy. I found him, I met him almost 5 years ago, joined his program, and started learning how to run events because that's what he started teaching us. He taught us how to create courses. He taught us how to run the webinar. And then he started teaching us how to do the 3-day events. And then I became one of his coaches on his team. So then I started learning behind the scenes all those secrets that I knew were out there, things that I was missing to actually have the conversions. And then I began to apply that to my own events. And guess what? People started saying yes to the offer. They started signing up. I started making money, thousands of dollars from virtual events. And that became kind of the fuel really for my financial engine for my business. And it was actually Iman who said to me, Janelle, you should be teaching people how to do virtual events. And I hadn't thought about that. At that time, I was teaching people how to speak and get on stages because I had been doing that for a while. And that's an amazing way to draw people to you. And he's like, of course, because when you run an event, you need to learn how to speak, and you know how to do events now. You've been on my team for years and you're doing your own events. So people want to learn this. So I started really focusing on that about 3 years ago. And I call myself the virtual events visionary because now I get to teach other people this formula. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. I have a formula, and I'll share with you what that is. But then I want to share with you the 3 top mistakes that sabotage virtual events and how you can avoid them. So first I'll share with you my 8 P's of profitable virtual events, my formula, the top 3 mistakes that sabotage virtual events. And then I'm going to give you one bonus tip that can literally double your conversions if you do this. And a lot of people miss this one little thing. It's amazing how simple it is. All right, so here's the formula. Can't go into deep detail on it, but I did want to share with you what it is. First, you want to have a purpose for your event. You need to plan it. You need to know what the goal is. How much do you want to make? How many people do you want in the room? What is the big outcome? What is the big breakthrough you want them to have? What do you want them to feel and achieve in that event? What's the event all about? That kind of thing. Because amazingly, a lot of people put events together and they just sort of wing it. So you need to have a plan, definitely. And then the possibility is what is possible for them if they take the next step with you at the end of your event. That is your offer. You want to paint the picture of what's possible for them if they take the next step with you. So that it's not like Iman was just saying, you're not trying to convince them. You are offering something. You are inviting them into possibility. So you need to have clear in your mind what that is before you ever plan the content for your event. Because everything in your event should lead them to this possibility that you paint the picture for them. Iman always taught me that people they don't buy your program, they buy into the vision that you paint for them, the vision that you hold for them of what's possible for them. And that's a huge part of your event, is having that really clear in your mind, and then You build the content out, you reverse engineer and prepare all your content leading to that possibility. And then everything is in sync and everything flows and it makes sense. And by the time you get to when you make your offer, they're like, oh yeah, totally, I want that. Then once you've prepared the content that leads to the possibility, then of course you want to promote your event. And there's so many ways to promote. There are so many events out there, so you've got to think outside the box and you've got to reach people in many, many different ways, not just social media, but also through partners that Iman was just talking about, collaborative partners. Of course, email, but also direct mail, direct messages, calling people, doing little sneak peek videos to build the excitement. And then once they register, you've also got to get them in the room. So you've got to be able to have a plan for that. How do you get them in the room? Because people will register and only about 25% will actually show. So there's the promotion. And then you can use partnerships. And Iman's already explained that very, very well. And then platform. You've got to have your tech together. Where are you going to meet and have your lighting and your video and your camera, and I recommend using Zoom as a meeting platform. There are others, but Zoom is great. Your recordings, all those kinds of techie things, have your landing page where you can register people and your email that goes out. Those things have to be in place, but you can use a very simple tech setup. It doesn't have to be complicated. Your equipment does not have to be expensive or complicated. That's why I said when Christine asked me when, do it now. You can start doing workshops now, even if you've never done them. You can start doing events and you can start speaking, because that is how people find you. And then, of course, present. So you do your event, you run your event. And this is where this last one, a lot of people give up on, and that is after the event. If it didn't go as well as they wanted, they just throw it out. Don't do that. Instead, go back and evaluate and optimize. Evaluate what happened. What went well? What didn't go so well? What do you need to tweak? What do you need to change? And then do it again. Because events are, when you're doing events and you're learning how to host them and put your content together and get people in the room, it's a learning process. And I always say that a workshop or an event that never happens, or an event that happens, is 100 times better than an event that never happens. Because even if you have only a few people in the room, you've had the opportunity to learn how good your content went. You can get feedback from the people. You actually present it and get used to presenting. And then you learn and you go back and you tweak and you do it again. So don't wait till it's perfect. Go ahead and present it, do your event, and then go back and tweak it. Get feedback on it, make it better, and keep working on it. And eventually you're going to have this amazing event that you can run as a signature event to continually bring in those clients. All right, so the top 3 mistakes that sabotage virtual events. Take notes here, because these are some gems. These are some things I learned from Iman and others that I did not know before. Number 1 is overstuffing the audience. Number 2, I'll just wing it. And number 3, creating a spectator event. So I'm going to go into each one of these briefly. Mistake number 1, and I still do this if I'm not careful. So guilty of doing this. Giving my audience so much stuff, so much information, that it was like taking them to a restaurant and telling them to eat the entire buffet. I'm trying to give them the entire buffet and just stuff everything in there that I possibly can, because I want to give value and I want to learn. I want them to learn all this stuff. But what happens when you go to a buffet and you eat too much? You don't feel good, do you? And you don't want any more, right? You leave there, I don't want dessert. I can't eat another thing. I don't want to eat for a week. And that's what happens a lot of times when we fill our events with so much information that the audience feels so stuffed, they don't want any more. People don't want more information. Information is something they can find anywhere, anytime. They can read a book, watch a video, come to an event, right? Listen to a podcast. There's information everywhere. They don't want more just information. What they want is transformation. They want to take a bite of your information and digest it and absorb it and make it their own so that they can experience a transformation in their life or a transformation in their business. And they can't do that if you overstuff them because they can't take it in. Just like you can't digest a whole buffet of food, people cannot digest tons of information in one sitting. So the trick is to narrow this down. And remember, less is more. It's like an appetizer. In your event, you want to give them an appetizer, a taste of that possibility if they step into working with you. Just give them a taste, but a taste that's delicious and yummy and that brings a transformation and makes them feel like, oh, man, that was good. I got something really good out of that. I understand it. I can use it. I can do something with it right now. Some small action. So think about when you're planning your event, what's one small win, one thing I could give them today? That's a small taste of what I do with people, that if they step into working with me, they'll get more. So you're giving them that taste and they're wanting more, but they feel like they got such value out of that one thing. This is a huge secret. I didn't learn it for many, many years. It was really hard for me to do, to narrow it down, but it is magic when you do it. So the way I teach workshops is first, let's think about this. What's the one small win? What is the one breakthrough people could have in a workshop with you? And then we build it from there. Now, mistake number 2, and if you have any questions as I'm going through them in the chat, and I'm happy to answer them, but mistake number 2 is saying, oh, I'll just wing it. This also is a mistake I've done many times because a lot of us have a lot of expertise. We have a lot of knowledge. We know our stuff, right? That's why we want to share it with people. We know it. We know it really well. And I could just get up here and wing it and talk about events for, days and days on end. But I planned this talk because I know that if I just wing it, there are some things that are going to happen. One thing that'll happen is I'll go down a rabbit trail because all of a sudden a thought comes into my mind and I'm off chasing that. And I can get off track and lose my audience. Another thing that can happen is my mind will go blank because I tried to wing it off of just what's in my head, and all of a sudden my mind's blank. And then I'm nervous because you guys are waiting for me to say something, and I'm like, that's making my mind go blanker. But if I have my outline, I can calm down and, oh, I know what I'm doing. I know what's next. It doesn't mean I have to read a script, but I have it there, right? It's a guide. And I also, going back to number 1, I have a goal and I'm sticking to my goal and I'm taking them to that one thing. So the other thing that can happen if you do not wing it, but have an outline, have a plan, is that it'll give you more confidence. And people love to follow a flow and a structure. And when you don't have that, they can kind of feel confused or lost, and a confused mind never buys. So have a plan and hit a target. You want a target. If you fail to plan, you will plan to fail, right? So have a target. What do you want them to do or feel? That goes along with number 1, having that one breakthrough, that one small win. What is that? And also your offer. So you, like I said, the offer, you got to plan that. What's that possibility? And then reverse design your content from there and design it so that it is small little steps to get them to that target, that one thing, that one small win. So you can ask yourself, what are maybe 3 little things they need to get to that one small win? And those can become your key points. And if you keep it small, you might think, oh, this is so simple. I mean, like it'd take me 5 minutes to teach this. Well, no, because what happens is you can go deeper. You can allow for them to talk with you and ask you questions and do things with your content. Remember, they don't need information. They want transformation. How do they get that? Well, they get that by interacting a little bit with you. So if you allow your workshop or your event to breathe and not have so much content, and you plan how the flow will go, that leaves room for people to interact, ask questions, get some, feedback from them, give them something to do, and then they start to take it in and absorb it and digest it. But you have to reverse design it You have to know where you're going before you can plan that. That makes sense, right? If you get in your car to go on a trip, you know where you're going. Your GPS is telling you where you're going. Same thing with a workshop. And then your offer is the next step for them. So what's in your workshop is just the first little piece, that taste, and your offer is what's next. I used to not match the offer with the content, and I would just have a topic that was really cool and I knew people were interested in, but I had no next step. And so I was wasting my talk. And that's another Imanism. Never waste a talk. Always have an offer, always have a next step for them. And mistake number 3 goes along with everything I just said in a way, creating a spectator event. So often we come with so much, we're so focused on our information, our content that we planned out, and now we're delivering it, that we forget to have a conversation. If people are sitting there and they're just listening to you and you're doing all the talking, you're going to lose your audience. So the fastest way to lose an audience is to talk at them instead of with them. So get them talking, ask them questions right off the bat. You know, put this in the chat like I did with you. Like, how many of you go to events? How many events do you go to? Ask them as you're teaching, you know, put this in the chat if this is true for you, or let me ask you a question and put it in the chat. And then you can also, with a workshop, you have enough time to say, I'm going to open it up for questions, or I'm going to do a little demo here. I'm going to do a little hot seat coaching, or here's a little exercise that you can do. And I'm going to give you 10 minutes to work on it. And then we're going to come back and we're going to share the insights we got out of it. That way they're taking that appetizer and they're using it and they're applying it to themselves. And then they become a part of the event with you because you're inviting them to participate. People want to be seen and heard. They love to participate. It's one of the reasons they go to events, is to connect. So you can build this into your content. Get them involved. Where can I open it up for them to get involved during my workshop? Now, if you work on just these 3 common mistakes, you're going to be amazed at the difference in your events. So stop overloading them with information, but deliver transformation. Get really clear on the objective and design the experience around that objective. Where are you taking them? Where are they going? What's the next step? And then build into your events interaction. Get them involved. Let them help shape your event. I always tell my audiences for my my attendees for my 3-day event, if it wasn't for you guys, nothing would happen here. I could plan and have the best plan in the world and have all this great content. But if you're just sitting there with cameras off and not interacting at all, it's not going to be an event. You help shape it by bringing your insights and your questions and working on the exercises and getting in breakout rooms with each other. Like, that shapes the event and it makes the event unique and special. Every event's different. It can have the same content, but it's going to be different because you guys connect with me and with each other. And that's something people absolutely love. So make sure you incorporate that into your events and you will have a winning workshop. So the bonus tip I promised. Now, this is one little tiny thing that, believe it or not, a lot of people don't realize they're not doing, but it can literally double your conversions. And it's so simple. Guide people to one clear call to action. When you make your offer, make a very clear step-by-step call to action. One thing I do a lot is I'll show my screen and I'll say, here's how you sign up. This is what the screen will look like when you click on the link that I put in the chat. When you click on it, this page will come up and I'll actually show them the page. So when you're on this page, click on this button here, and then this form will show up and fill this form out, like that, to that detail, because people will follow that. But if you say, hey, just sign up for my course, I hope to see you there, and that's all you say, they don't know what to do. And if you could put the link in the chat and not say anything and they'll miss it, believe it or not. So make sure it's very, very clear. I'm going to put a link in the chat. When you click that link, you're going to be taken to a page where you can sign up for my course, and you've already shared what that is, right, in your offer. This can actually double conversions because people like I said, a confused mind won't buy. And sometimes people miss what you're saying. They're distracted. They're taking notes or somebody's talking to them and they miss it. So don't assume that they know. Like several times, give that that call to action and make it super clear, and you will see more people signing up. So, if you want to learn more about virtual events, my gift to you all is actually a ticket to a workshop. It's called the Virtual Edge Workshop. And oh, is that what I gave you? Yeah, free admission to my Virtual Edge Workshop. So it is coming up May 28th, the next one. And we're going to go through that formula, the 8 things that I gave you. It's 7 steps, but the 8th step is that evaluate and optimize, which is the one step that people don't do. So I added that in because I thought, well, a lot of people don't ever go back and optimize and tweak. So it's now 8, but we're going to go into that in more depth. And there's going to be 3 main ones that I really dive into. One of them is more about how to get people in the seats, which people really want to know. How do I get people in the room with me? And we're going to dive in more about engaging, making that engaging content, how to like manage the room and get people engaging with you, and how to make that offer. So those 3 things that are super important, we're going to dive into in a lot more detail than what I could do today. And it's totally free. I'd love to see you guys there. It is May 28th. And I think that is it. I would love to, I don't know where I'm at with time, Christine. Hopefully I'm okay.
Yep.
Take any questions anybody has.
I love this because the first conversation, you can watch how this threads today. We're a living experience of what Janelle has just talked about. We started the conversation around who are you looking for? Getting into the room, serving the people who raise their hand and say, I want what you have. And the vision piece, which Iman brought to the table, which is if you don't see it, you go create it. And that today is the day you start thinking about a virtual event. Janelle, this was exceptional. I love this talk about this because not everybody, and truthfully, the call to action, I can absolutely see why that gets missed. Because when we are so focused on a million pieces, we don't catch them all the first time.
That's true.
I remember my first event, I didn't even have an offer. Didn't even occur to me to plan for one because I had too many other pieces in the mix. And then at the end, my friend's like, why don't you make an offer? I'm like, it didn't occur to me.
Yeah.
One. And we get better. And I think this is my favorite piece of what you've said. The moment you're done, your event isn't the end of the event. And Josiah, you said it's in the comment. It's about the follow-up. It's the lessons. It's the refinement and making it happen. If anybody does have any questions for Janelle, please feel free to raise your hand. We're happy to take one before we send you into a breakout room to imagine what it could look like running your own virtual event. And for the VIPs and people who've already bought our VIP, which is the only offer we're making here, I'm going to pop the link back below. She's gifting you an audit, a personal time with her to help you build this strategy. Now is the time, and she's gifting you the fast path to getting that done. So if you've not already bought your VIP, I'm going to pop the link to do so one more time down below. This is such a smart decision because these ideas, I said, each of the gifts are part of building $1 million business. Not all of these pieces you're ready to digest today, but when you get access to these incredible business owners, you can get there faster than if you get on your own. So there's the VIP list. If you've bought your VIP already, note that we've already added Janelle's information, both of her gifts onto the dashboard, so you will find them today. Any questions before we put you into a breakout room? All right, awesome job. Make sure you go to her event.
Garuli's got her hand waving it.
Dr. Goodall. Yeah, Charlotte. I just wanted to say, Christine, that today's whole day has been incredible. Your presenters, yourself, the participants, I just really appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh, I so appreciate that. This is a lived experience we co-create. So I want to also say thank you for being here. You were at our last waterfall event. You're being part of this experience that we have created. And this is the fun piece of this. I only run my events live, even from the first cluster. I phoned 10 friends. Talk about how quickly and easy you can do this. I made a decision sitting in a chair and said, in 60 days or less, I'm going to hold an event. I phoned a whole bunch of friends and said, have my back. I'm scared. I'm going to go do
Yep.
something I don't know how to do. I've been to
Perfect
lots
way
of
to
events.
start.
I've seen it on the other side. I
Yes.
paid for a course and I just was a hot mess. People were like, you have to learn to pin people and you have to learn to push the buttons. And I'm like, please send me
Yep.
instructions. I don't know how to do that. You can do this, but we co-create it. And every event is unique. So thank you, Dr. Charlotte. I appreciate that. Janelle, thank you for our speak and talk today. I think this is awesome, awesome, awesome sauce. And now's the time to go imagine